Please welcome to the stage Francis Kéré, founder of Kéré Architecture, for a conversation with Bloomberg's Francine Lacqua.
Thank you everyone, and thank you, Francis, for giving us a little bit of your busy schedule. I've been so excited to meet you because of really being a pioneer in what you do. When did you decide, and we're going to look at beautiful images of what you've done, of where you grew up, but when did you decide you wanted to be an architect and you wanted to make a difference?
Well, thank you. Thank you for getting me here. When did I decide to become an architect is a very important question. But as far I can think back, there are many things in my life that brought me to become an architect. First of all, you have to know that I have to leave my family when I was 7 to be able to learn how to read and write. So from that moment, I was living by relatives. I was sitting in classrooms that were very dark, while there was abundant sunlight outside. And it was very hot.
And this is a picture.
Very, very hot. It's in my village, actually.
Of your village.
Yeah. So it was very hot inside. And you have to know that in 50 square meters, we were more than 100 kids, sitting next to each other. And then something that, within the heat, but something that marked me was, kids were kids. We will sit in the benches and we just play like this, and the benches will be wobbling and nails will pop out. And so I'm sorry to say that, but it may hurt your best part, your bottom. And I couldn't accept that, all of that. So for the benches, I knew there is a carpenter on my way to the school, and I went to intern. As a 9-year-old boy, I went to intern to fix our bench first. So there's a lot of things that brought me, to become architect. So one day when I had the chance, I decided to become a carpenter.
That's amazing. But so it really started out of actually making education better. It started as actually putting a community together that could learn together to then better lives. Yeah.
So now it's like I started, and then I became a carpenter, and I was in the capital city, Ouagadougou, waiting for job opportunities. I started to work as a carpenter just to earn some money. But I went to school. A carpenter, and you may hire yourself, especially when young girl was passing, they may know you, educated person, just fixing benches. I tried, but then luckily I won a scholarship that brought me to Germany to be further trained as a better carpenter. So there.
So this is age 20?
Yeah, 20, very young, 90. And so there I arrived and I felt, wow, I'm in the country of abundance, a paradise. So I'm not talking about chicken, about the food, no, the abundance. I was intrigued that you could access education. And so I started to ask these people that brought me there, look, I know how to make furniture, I know how to make a roof for a building. I want to know how to learn to layer bricks. Then I will go back to Burkina and will build for my community. So they told me, no, Mr. Kéré, this is impossible. So you came for one program, you cannot do the other. And during discussion, they said, what are you thinking to do? Sounds like you want to become an architect. I said, oh, wow, cool. What is that? So, you have to become an architect. At that time, I didn't know what is an architect. I said, oh, it's gonna be cool to become an architect. So, but how can I become architect? You have to study. So I had no high school degree. And they said, yeah, you cannot. I asked them, where can you do a high school degree? And they told me there is a school at night where adult, because I was past 20, where adult can do the high school degree.
But Francis, at the time, what did you understand an architect was, or what an architect could do?
At that time, I understood there was someone who could make furniture, who could make a roof, who could layer bricks and make a house. And I wanted to become that guy. So this is the moment where everything started. And I had to go to an evening school in Germany, 5 years. I mean, some of these teachers are still alive. 5 years. And during the day, I will work, which is normal. We all do work. And then I will do a school from 6 to 11 p.m. And after 5 years, I graduated. And I went to university.
I mean, that's resilience.
Yes.
I mean, it's resilience.
So,
what do you think? You know, a lot of people look at your projects and say they're beautiful and they're actually so different.
Yeah.
But do you think, is it really resilience and that wanting to do something better for your community that made your success?
Yeah. So first, my dream was always to make myself useful for my community. I am a member of a community, a very poor village, where there is no life insurance, no driving insurance, nothing but the security of the community. And everyone has to contribute. So I went far away from that community, and being in Germany, becoming a student, 2 years later, I was thinking, wow, what can you bring back home? Because they haven't seen you for more than 7 years. What can you do?
So did you feel pressure to deliver?
Yes, pressure, and later the envy to contribute to the growth of that community. That's why I started as a student to design a school at university. And as a student, I was able to build my very first school made out of clay and rebars, clay from the village, and to create a building that no one has seen before, but with the community. With the community. Why? Why? I can tell you. We are a very remote place, and no one has a chance. I was the very first to attend education, so to learn how to read and write.
Of your whole village?
Yes. So what you do, in my head was, okay, if you want to succeed, you have to get everyone to be part of it. So, and I wanted, if in the middle of way I collapse, that happened in human life, you know. Nature is nature. And I just wanted to, let me put it this way, but I don't want no one to feel pity about me. I was saying, if I fail and die, I want at least one person in the village to be able to continue this work. It was like logic, it was like practical. So I didn't know that what I was doing would have that impact today. But it was just to take the existing material, what people know for a long time, and get people to be part of it to create a school.
But beautiful school, right? So you have a compass almost in your eye. What inspires you? And I think these are some of the pictures, actually, of what you built.
Yeah, inspiration comes from nature first, but also from traditional architecture. Sometimes a canopy, a shelter. Providing shadow can become a classroom. I am very inspired about that. But I had the chance to access the Western world where I discovered a lot of examples, and I love the rationalist architect, just trying to do with little material and resources a lot. And in Gando, I had a lot of clay and a lot of people, and people that love beauty. And so I said, if I can succeed, I want to give to my people the most beautiful school in the area, and then the most comfortable schools. And that has been my drive until now. So creating beauty, be it for you, if you ask me to do, I will do my best to achieve that. But for my community, I wanted them to have luxury in terms of comfort, but in terms of something that I can look and say, we were proud. We were proud of the construction.
With very simple materials, because there is a belief, in a lot of Western countries that actually sustainability comes at a cost, that the materials are expensive, and you've gone almost against that to show the world that you can afford, beautiful things done with sustainable materials. Does that work elsewhere than actually in Africa?
So first of all, yes. Before coming here, if you Google, you will see that I launched a kindergarten in Munich, actually where I'm teaching. And it has been well received. But for me, is again the pressure, because I have to succeed. So we're building a vertical kindergarten, completely out of wood. Germany has wood, but we want to be radical, not in terms of aggressive, but in the way you use things, to say, okay, let's use the wood as much as possible to reduce all the other materials. Let's see what it will be. And I mean, it is Germany, you're building for the most fragile part of the population, and you want to build a vertical kindergarten 5-story high, and you want to completely use wood. It took us about 1.5 years to achieve that. And this is the problem where we may face in the world. But about cost, I don't think that we're going to have a good world if we're afraid about investing. Everything should be cheap, 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 cheap. For me, our world has become cheap because of these people thinking cheap is the solution. No, that's why we're sticking in plastic. It has to be cheap, cheap and fast. For me, it was important to be resilient. No, what is resilient? Everyone is saying those kind of words. I have to be there, with my people constantly, showing that it works. That is what I'm talking about, resilient. And it is important to have sponsors, investors that are thinking on the long term and not very quick and cheap. That's why we don't have good projects in the world.
Have you seen a shift? Or do you have more backers, more people that actually are interested in beautiful things for the longer term? Or was that for a while and then actually shifting the other way?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So when I started, people would say, oh, it's the little guy building little school in his tiny little village. Actually, Burkina Faso have a huge workshop with young people that are trained. Oh, they're not young anymore because we started together, and they can do what we're doing. And we have a lot of people asking, I know that your way of building using the material is expensive, but that is the better way to do. They started little NGOs started to ask for schools, but now even private people are telling me, we know that is the best way. The material is good to human being, but also the result is live longer, and then you don't need a lot of energy afterward, and there's no maintenance. People are asking, while in the Western world, people get inspired from what I have been creating, I'm getting a lot of demand, of course, and that is my little problem. I love to work to create things that make the difference, being on how it looks, being on how it's inspired people. But now I'm facing a little problem because those projects are taking me away from my community to be able to do that. And I think these are what they call brain drain, So I'm excited to work with people abroad, but it's taking so much time. And what I'm feeling over the years is my people, especially the women, are saying, we don't see him anymore. We cannot sit with him and talk about the future anymore. He has no time, no time, no time. And so, but it's contradictory.
It's a good problem to have, because actually as you grow, and we'll see also images of some of the beautiful things that you've built, the Serpentine Pavilion here. Some of the other do you have a favorite project? I don't even know if I should ask you.
No, I have many, many favorite projects, but my absolute favorite was the primary school that I built. As a kid, you come back to your village in a place where education is about walking with your grandfather, your grandmother, or your mother for years to learn to do something. And I just left this village. I come back and say, guys, come together. We're going to build a school. And they was looking, what? We haven't seen him be trained as a builder. How can he do that? And, and we start to work, talk. We made bricks out of the clay. And we built, raised a wall 1 meter high. And then the first rain came. Okay? And then I was sleeping. And I got noise. And I wake up. I realized it was the women from the village. And they're coming to my I said, yeah, we already have a lot of meetings. And we know we're going to work. Why are they coming again this morning early? And I didn't get it. And before I complained, my brother came in and said, I have to tell you something. Did you hear the women? I said, yes, I heard. What was happening? No, they was coming to consolate you because in our memory, if a clay building is not finished and the first rain comes, it will destroy it. And so for them, it was sure the building was destroyed. And they wanted to consolate me so that you don't hurt yourself or you don't get. But then it was like a miracle.
It was still there.
This emotional thing, and that what we have seen made this building so important to me. Really very, very important.
Franz, I mean, it's amazing hearing you speak about how proud you are about, you know, what you've been able to give back. And this is also how you design a lot of the buildings, is trying to bring a community together. We're looking at the Serpentine Pavilion. Can you talk to us about the first time that you won a big prize? I mean, you've won many prizes. Yeah. There's one that is like the gold standard for any architect. Yeah. Did you feel joy or did you feel pressure?
I was surprised first in 2004 to win the acclaimed award. That time I was already a little bit shy because I had to go to India to receive the prize. And I didn't know what it was, but it was a very important prize, as I realized later. But why I was sad? Because I will be celebrated far away from the community that has brought effort to help me realize what we have done. But the prize was good. People start to dig and see how I was doing, and eventually some people start to invite me to give lectures, to talk. It created a visibility, and so on. We got a lot, but of course, two years ago I won the Pritzker. I still don't believe that I won it, that it is me, really honestly. But it came, and it came with a big pressure, you know, but also joy, but also. It's at the end of the day, it's grounding me because I'm saying, wow, is you, Francis, or is this someone else? I'm still asking questions about me. But the quality of the man has totally changed. Yeah. So that's why I have to say, prices are great, but also good clients and good sponsors are good, like this Parliament House in Benin. You know, normally I will come with an inspiration. In London for the Serpentine Pavilion, I wanted to bring a big tree, and I dressed blue like you, really, because blue is the color of a favorite in Burkina Faso, you know. That's why I love it, because for your first date, for a young man, so going to meet his girlfriend, you have to dress blue. So if you dress blue and you walk toward the savannah in my place, so all the young competitor now is done. So, and for me in London, I just wanted to show me with my best. That's why I love your dress. It's inspiring me. I wanted to create the blue pavilion. And I was inspired by the color of my culture, by the celebratory character. And I did it. But the Parliament House in Benin, it was different. Because we in Africa, because of the colonial power did a wonderful work, you know. They make us believe that what we have has no value to be, you know. Yeah, they did a wonderful work. So for me, if there is a big commission there, I try to provoke and to see if they really want me or not. For the Parliament House in Benin, I wanted to create the palava tree. The palava tree, for those that has been taken away from their culture, it is now something primitive. Why he want us to go back to, you know, to a palava tree? But because I see democracy in Africa is sick, because we have been far from our roots, from our cultural habit. A palava tree is where you meet to discuss the daily life of people.
So, Francis, this is basically the shape of what
we're
seeing,
the shape,
right? The fact that it looks like it's branches
a tree, like
out.
a giant tree. And so when you say to these people believing in modernity that I see as a copy of the West, so they kick you out. So you will not succeed. Because it's big, sometimes I'm happy that I respond, but sometimes if you don't respond, they may say, oh, he's famous, but the country and the continent is calling him, he's refusing. But in this case, I met visionary leaders that exactly wanted to have something like that. And so inspiration to me coming differently, sometimes learning from my culture, but sometimes a big tree can be the inspiration. A Buckingham Palace with the park as a green lung for the population of London inspired me to create a giant tree where people can come and gather.
I mean, you said democracies are sick. Do you feel yourself political, or actually, finding through architecture and beauty a political voice, a message?
Yeah. So yes, so architecture can have a symbolical power, but to be political yourself is difficult because I love design. I want to spend time in that. To try to introduce symbols is to make sure that you create peace. If people believe in the symbol and you try to give them back this symbol, then they feel bespoke and they will rely the idea. So I don't think that I have the skill to become a politician, but I love design. And I don't have the skin to swim in the same sea with politicians. Is another quality. That's why I stuck by design that I really love a lot.
But it's also amazing when you read about diplomacy. It's actually the size of a room, how close you are to someone you need to negotiate with, and foreign policy actually makes a big difference.
Oh yes.
Do you? And it seems that in all of your design, you think about that a lot to I guess bring people together and get them to talk more.
Yeah. So it's a social project or an urban project. I think it is important to get everyone be part of it and not to be surprised later. A building first mobilizes a lot of resources, but the building affects every one of us. And you don't want to have an ugly, nonsense building in your neighborhood. So a building should inspire, should have a purpose, should provide comfort and everything to people, but also become something inspiring within a community, within a neighborhood. And that way we have to communicate, And then that way you make the building be accepted, become our. But if you just come and say, I have the money, I will implement it, then don't be surprised that it's not accepted, So
how would you design maybe a city of the future? So we all are digitally connected, we speak to each other less. It seems that there's less of a sense of a community.
Yeah.
Would you design London or Berlin differently than what it's designed now?
First of all, I will not design London and Berlin, potentially Berlin, but I will not design London differently. You have the traces of generations, So that is a saying of Newton. Isaac said, if I came further, it is because sitting on the shoulders of giants. So a city needs to have the traces of generation that has passed before us. And here lay the struggle of creating a city out of nothing. So, and then the other problem is we want to have it fast and cheap. And that is not working. So I would love to design part of things in London. I could, if it doesn't take me a lot of time from my community. So except if there is a compensation so that my work there can be done. I think it is important in cities nowadays that we more put community interest, so in the center of interest, when designing. And this has been neglected. Public space, so comfortable public space. Free accessibility for all the members of society, And so those are elements that we have to take under account if we're designing a new thing. I think we're making the mistake to think that things are impossible. This is not true. There is still a way to improve. We should need to have the political will, but also be ready to put resources in that, because it's about human beings.
Do you like or dislike the word sustainable? Because a lot of people are saying, it's become something that actually doesn't speak to people, whereas how you design is local. It's people that speak to the community. It's buildings that last.
Yeah. It's a problem with sustainability. I feel that those that has the capital power to buy an etiquette and drop on the project call themselves sustainable. But the status quo is not changing, and this is the problem. With the financial power, they throw us an etiquette, I am sustainable. What I'm doing is sustainable. But in the deep thing, in the depth of the thing, nothing is changing. So that is not the way we will create a better future for our people. No, that's not. So that's why I'm afraid about sustainability. But deeply thought starting to do things like me, when I start to build, I never knew, encountered this word sustainability. But I knew from my heart, from deep on me, if I take the most available material that people knows and I improve it a way that it can inspire my people, but have a long lasting life, this is good. If I can get people to be part of it and learn new things, sharing knowledge, I knew this is important because we're not called, Francine, we're not called to stay forever here on the planet. But if you teach people to do things properly, rather than to teach them to make very fast business, always business, fast, fast, fast. So, if we teach them properly, if we go, they will go, keep doing like what we have done. And so
that's almost the real sustainability, right? Is putting it right, deep-rooted.
Deep, and you need time. Like me, what most people doesn't know, to build my very first school, I had to look for money. And here comes the problem. I am a student, I had no money. What to do? People will say, we know you love your community, but okay, money, money, money. So I created a structure to be able to finance this project. But still now, I'm constantly putting things in that to make sure that I get my homework done while I'm talking. Mostly when people talk about things that are sustainable, it's already old coffee from yesterday. It's already failing, but they keep going with the brand we're sustainable. And that's what I want to avoid in my work.
You're inspiring also a new generation, actually, of architects in Africa. You are becoming, frankly, more famous almost by the day. What do you want to achieve in your lifetime? Like, how will you measure success?
Yeah. Well, first of all, to be able to withstand pressure. Of course, if suddenly young people come and see, or texting you, or trying to paint you, sending you things, to me, sending, and so I got your picture from internet. I am from Ghana. I'm studying, different places, sending you pictures, and you start to say, wow, my gosh, I'm Francis Kéré. I'm an architect. I just wanted to build a school for my people. I don't want to be recognized in the road, but nowadays, if you say, picture, photo, you are under pressure, but at the same time, you realize you cannot be aggressive because you have done something that these people love. That's why they want to gather with you. And so there is a pressure for sure. I want to withstand this. What legacy I would love to leave is to make sure that in my village I have infrastructure. So long when I'm gone, things are still working. Then I have done my job. And if some people get inspired through my work and then try to engage themselves for their community and create something that is inspiring for everyone, I will be happy. So, the work I'm doing can be seen as a builder of bridges. If I can build a stronger bridge, I'm talking about the next generation, so to enable them. That is what you hope. But just create another museum somewhere or thing, it is good for me. But at the end of the day, I will be measured to what I have left in Gando, where I started, with these people, where the work has given me this, allowed me to have this visibility.
What's the best piece of advice you would give to someone young who wants to make a difference, actually, in this world? In architecture or with something else?
Wow. I'm not the right one to just do that.
I think you are.
Yeah. But with the pressure you have, and then you try to be the good one, the fancy guy, the intellectual one, I have no advice than to believe in yourself and really work hard. When I started, no one would have imagined that I will be able to see my name connected with Aga Khan or Pritzker, or sitting at Bloomberg to talk about sustainability, about future of sales. No, myself, 5 years ago, if you told me that, I will say no. I will never imagine. So I will encourage everyone to believe in what you're doing and not try to run after the newest of the newest. Just be consistent. Just work on things that matters for you. Really, at the long term, it pays.
Francis Kéré, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.